Hello there. Welcome back to another episode of Strike's Talking Points. Today, just following up real quick on all the news coming out of our friends in the UK. And what we have today is the fallout, pushback, appreciation of the Trump visit. It's everywhere. It's all over the place. None of this stuff is really surprising because as most people know, most media is more or less further left than most citizens or people in general, and that's just where we're at now. Here we go. This is the picture of Trump and the Queen. You got Melania there in the back, dressed up, which as a former model, she's pretty well always dressed up. Trump looks fine, although I do always think he looks kind of odd, like he doesn't know what to do with his hands. Just shoves them down to his sides and just stands still. However, you'll notice the headline: Trump insults London mayor as loser as he pays tribute to the Queen. That's the second half of the story, not the first half. So we're going to get to that in just a minute. Queen Elizabeth welcomed President Trump to Buckingham Palace on Monday with an honor guard and royal artillery salute. Now, really, there's not a lot of mention in this article of why he's there. This is the 75th anniversary of D-Day, if I'm not incorrect there. And that's what Trump is there for, because the U.S. and Great Britain have had very close ties for hundreds of years now. While Mr. Trump carried an ugly dispute with the mayor of London, whom he called a stone-cold loser, and was doing a terrible job of running Britain's capital city. Now, I don't know about you, but I've heard multiple stories about acid attacks, riots in Britain, riots in London. They're actually pushing to ban blunted knives. If you go look, you can actually find the pictures from, I believe it was Twitter, where the London people posted knife sharpeners and spoons as deadly weapons they had confiscated. It makes no sense what's going on over there right now, and you're starting to see, the tide of elections push from far left more to right, center-right politicians with, the Brexit Party and all across Europe. That's just happened here. It showcased a deep ambivalence Mr. Trump's visit has excited. The British public mostly rejects Trump and his policies. Now, the British public are rejecting it pretty much because they see this on the BBC. The BBC is definitely an orange mad bad thing. This is a state-run government that has an insult to the visiting state president, leader. The BBC actually has a baby Trump orange man bad balloon in their studio. Again, state-run media in Britain, that's what's going on. Directly an insult to the President of the United States and anyone else out there. Roughly 100 million Americans, I think, are on Trump's side. But anyway, that's hilarious to me that they do that. Members of Britain's royal party did their part, treating Mr. Trump and First Lady Trump to a lunch and lavish state banquet at Buckingham Palace. Trump's also placed a wreath at the Westminster Abbey, where England's queen and kings are crowned, married, and laid to rest. And here they go. But the stately narrative carried a more rough-edged subtext. Now, they're showing Trump's tweet. Sadiq Khan, who by all accounts has done a terrible job as mayor of London. Again, there's been a rise in crime all over the place through London. Stabbings, acid attacks, protests, riots, all in the last couple of years. Has been foolishly nasty to the visiting president of the United States, by far the most important ally of the United Kingdom. That's true, especially as they leave the EU. He is a stone cold loser who should focus on crime in London, not me. This part is hilarious as well. You cannot troll Trump. It is almost impossible. He comes back at you because he's just so good at this. He still gets what humor is and points it out. Khan reminds me very much of our very dumb and incompetent mayor of New York City, de Blasio, who has done a terrible job, only half his height. I'm looking very forward to being a great friend to the United Kingdom and looking very much forward to my visit landing now. He did this before he got off the plane. Sadiq Khan, this is what he did. He released a video basically saying that if you are not a feminist, if you do not follow all the far left ideology, you hate women, you are a hateful person, and you're going to regulate women to second-class citizens. And London's values and the values in the country. Trump represents more of the standard liberal ideas that we've had for generations, the ones we basically imported from Britain and export back and forth, and that's where Sadiq Khan is kind of off kilter. He is dropping in the polls as pretty much UK is moving away from that type of ideology. It is really getting odd over there because you've seen Brexit win. However, you see the state-run media promoting the far-left idea that we have here in the UK, that Trump bad, even though there's generally not one policy they can quote, and the only time they have any issues it's just that he's all of these ists, and then they have no way to show it except for the perma-debunked both sides, which as much as they've attacked the Trump Pelosi video, they should kind of go after that. And this is something else you're seeing here. Trump supporters barricaded in Wetherspoon by police after being surrounded by protesters chanting Nazi scum off our streets during heated clash in London. Now, if anything will show you or kind of can over time teach you is that these clashes, this aggression, these violence things generally always comes from people on the left who cannot tolerate any opinion other than their own. So if there are Trump supporters, they get attacked in London, they get shouted out, forcibly removed, and this is just where we're at in life. No arrests have been made. Around a dozen Metropolitan Police men and women are standing guard at the door. Tom providing this with members of the pub security team. Further down Whitehall, another group of Trump supporters, one whom was wearing Free Tommy badge in reference to Tom Robinson, complained about the media coverage of Tuesday's protests, meaning the media over there can only cover the story one way. Tommy Robinson was violently attacked by an Islamic extremist group who was marched by the police several miles to a peaceful political rally, and then were violently attacked. They were hurling bricks, scissors, bottles, rocks. They attacked a couple of people directly, and it was reported by the media that a violent clash at protesters, counter-protesters. No, the police marched them miles and miles to have the violent clash. You're actually seeing some of these countries. Chlorinated chicken, that is the antibacterial wash that people in the U.S. have all the time. No to racism, no to Trump. Again, Trump is not a racist. That's just very strange. Yeah, they don't have anything that they're mad about because this has been clearly disproven. This is also disproven. Bigotry. Generally, we have people in the U.S. who are definitely bigots, and most of them seem to be on the left. We actually have liberal colleges that openly segregate students by race. It's very strange. Donald Trump, this is more of a right-leaning site here, is Spectator USA. Donald Trump should not stoop to Sadiq Khan's level. Basically talking about he shouldn't get down and do that, but this is Donald Trump. He cannot resist. He has to get down with them. When they say something, he's got to answer back. And that's what they're going over is, this is kind of funny. Actually, I've changed my mind since last year. I don't think Trump should attack London mayor upon his arrival. He shouldn't stoop to Khan's level. He shouldn't dignify Khan, who is little more than a left liberal troll at this point, with a response. Now, as you can clearly see, the Spectator is biased to the right. Now, Sadiq Khan, this is the final part here. Sadiq Khan's popularity slumps to the lowest level just a year before the next election. Now, keep in mind, most of these polls, especially of Londoners, which is a much more left-leaning city than most of what we have in the U.S., because I believe it's 42% of the people in London are natives, English, and the further 58% would be immigrants, foreign-born, foreign workers. Or, not foreign workers, I don't think they get to vote there, but immigrants. Foreigners, first generation in the country, and Sadiq Khan is playing to them as strongly as possible. Now, 3 years into his administration, Mr. Khan's net approval rating dropped to minus 1% last year. This meant 32% of the people who took the poll said they were satisfied, while 33% said they were dissatisfied. So the mayor in his own term, a year before the election, his rating is 32% approval, 33% dissatisfied. You're seeing him fall negatively in the polls. Why? I believe it is because of the current push you see all across Europe, Australia, all across the West, as you would refer to it typically. People are waking up, they're getting tired of this extreme leftist idea, and they're moving back to the middle. Or they're finally deciding to let go of the far left, like I did, and just stay where you already were as a moderate in the middle. And if the choice for me to vote is between an extreme left-leaning person who has all these crazy ideas, 1,000 genders, hate speech laws, attacks one religion, Christianity, while holding up any other religion. Generally, you see a lot of secret, like the Women's March, and all these different things are very much far left. They have disadopted Jewish people and just moving them out of the group, pushing them over to white. They're pushing Asians into that group. Anyone who is successful on their own merit are being left behind. And you're seeing this all across the world. Excuse me. And that's what I think is happening in London and in all these other places. They're seeing their countries pulled apart. They're seeing millions upon millions of immigrants coming in. They're seeing the extreme culture shift. The reason the West has been so successful and has stood the test of time is the cultures of these countries: Germany, France, Italy, England, United States, Spain, Hungary, Poland. All of these countries have had one very set rule. It's the culture that existed there. Not so much the race of the people, but some people always fall back to that, but it is the culture that is inherent to the group. Language, religion, customs, all these things have played such a major role in how the West has worked for so long that now you see that they're trying to change it in less than a generation. And all you're seeing is political backlash. You're seeing actual people finally standing up for themselves, saying, no, we don't accept this. And he's just, he himself is dropping down and down and down and down. And again, state-run media. This is a government-funded organization on the 75th anniversary of D-Day who is putting the Orange Man bad in their show. I really don't see how BBC funding, government funding, can do that of a visiting state especially of a state leader, especially when they're hoping to secure some trade deals coming out of the EU. And the U.S. is a massive trade country. We have tons of stuff here. We can go back and forth and really push the UK up a notch as they leave the EU. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Please like, comment, share. Let me know what you think. And don't forget, hit subscribe. I'm really wanting to try and grow the channel. Trying to produce 2 videos a day is what I'm expecting. Maybe 3. This is not my full-time job. This is just what I'm kind of doing while I'm bored as I read these stories and try to make sense out of this extremist media that we've got going on. So thank you all for your time, and have a great day.